All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to our YT User Developer Workshop, also known as Spatial Analysis Across Scales and Domains. And I hope that over the next 4 days, we'll make the point that that's really what YT is about. All right. So before we begin with the interesting stuff, I've been asked to read through some health and safety information. Yeah. Okay, so we'll see how much of I can read before my patience runs out. All right, so what to do if there is a fire. The time of the weekly fire alarm is 8:55 every Wednesday. We won't be in here then because we start at 10 tomorrow. Not aware of any fire drills. Please evacuate at the sound of a fire alarm. When you hear the fire alarm in normal working hours, follow the instructions on the blue fire action notices posted throughout the building. Exit the building using the fire exit routes. Close all doors behind you. Do not use the lifts. Assemble in the car parks well away from JCMB main entrance and access road. Do not re-enter an activated zone. Signaled by flashing beacons at the zone boundary. Do not re-enter the building until given an all clear by assembly point controller, fire brigade officers, or by public address system. Do not use your mobile phone until you have safely evacuated the building.
Question.
Yes.
So we're supposed to assemble under those highly flammable set of trees out there where the car park is?
To my knowledge, yes. Yeah, that's right. Hopefully it'll be raining and it will be fine.
Right.
When you hear the fire alarm outside normal working hours, I don't know why you'd be here then. It is outside normal working hours. It's unlikely that there will be either fire stewards or assembly point controller on duty. Exit the building as detailed in the previous slide. Assemble at JCMB main entrance and await instructions from the fire officers of University Security. I will make sure to share all of these slides so that you can go through this in detail sometime a little bit later. If you discover a fire, if not already sounding, activate the building alarm by breaking the glass of the nearest alarm station. This will automatically alert University of Edinburgh Security and the Lothian Fire System. Exit the building as detailed above, closing all doors behind you. Go around the outside of the building to the JCB main entrance and report the location of the scale of the fire to the assembly point coordinator and/or fire stewards. If out of office, contact University Security at that number and report the scale and location of the fire. I think the units of the scale, maybe you can give it a star system, 0 to 5 stars, a rating of 1 out of 10, perhaps. Consider tackling the fire if and only if the fire is small and localized. You are not at risk from smoke and fumes. Your exit route is not threatened. You have been trained to use fire extinguishers. Assisted evacuation procedures. Following instructions are intended to support, we're almost done. Support emergency evacuation of the building. Please ensure you are familiar with the procedures outlined. When assisted evacuation is required, established procedures are implemented that incorporate the use of a response team and the use of evacuation chairs. Where evacuation can be undertaken with limited mobility, please allow all others to evacuate before proceeding with evacuation routes. Refuge points are used to indicate all temporary waiting spaces. The building has temporary waiting spaces strategically located within or adjacent to stair enclosures. If assistance is likely to be required, please ensure you are aware of the refuge point locations and the procedures for summoning assistance. These are, all right, we have automated defibrillators next to various lifts and in these rooms, and these are the first aiders around the building. Any questions? Lift. It's an elevator. Excellent question. We have a fire steward, Neil Wood. Report accidents or incidents, I guess, I don't know, to me, and then I'll take it from there. Okay, other logistics. If you're new to this building or this area, the bathrooms, you go out of the hall there, turn left again, this main corridor here, all the way down, they'll be on your right as you go down there. There's a water bottle filling station all the way down at the end of the hall. It takes longer than you think, like a full 30 seconds, which feels like an eternity, but it's there. Beware, there are 2 hallways, this one and on the other side of the stairs, and they look identical, and the exits to them look identical, and you can mistakenly go onto the wrong one and realize that none of the places you thought you were going exist. That's because you're in the wrong hallway, right? So that does happen. I think it happened to me yesterday. We have, so I've said this in the email announcement, we have a YT Slack channel that you can join automatically by going to ytproject.org Slack. And we have this channel that I think you just have to like enter manually, but it exists and you can join the Higgs 2025 workshop channel for any discussions related to the workshop or social events afterward or anything. Feel free to use that for that. Okay.
You may be able to browse channels to join it as well.
Oh,
I
you
think
can
there's, I
browse
think there's a browse button
Right.
sometimes.
Okay, great. So a couple other things. Thursday night at 7 p.m. we have our workshop dinner at the Amber Restaurant just down from the castle. It's quite nice there. The castle Esplanade, which is normally this big open space where you can go and have great views, is now covered in stadium seating and occupied by various events that you have to pay for, which is unfortunate. But you can go up right to basically where the restaurant is and almost no further. It's a couple miles in town, but there are many buses to get out there. And then Friday afternoon, so Friday morning, we'll be in here for the morning, and then just before lunch, we will walk up to the Royal Observatory, which is just near the top of the big hill over that direction. And we will have a little hackathon in the afternoon. I will be happy to give an observatory tour to anyone who would like to have that. It doesn't take very long. We'll do that sometime in the middle of the afternoon. And we'll have lunch up at the observatory, which will be at your cost of about £4 to £5. Okay? All right, so now on to the more interesting stuff. Why are we all here, right? So I think the common themes that I hope bring you into this room, other than that you responded to my many pleas to come to this workshop, are that we all have some sort of spatial data that has varying levels of idiosyncrasies and is slightly a pain to deal with in some way, right? So this is sort of representative of the type of data that I've made my career on, which is adaptive mesh hydro data, which is this Eulerian mesh that is covering the whole domain at some resolution, and then you have patches that are being created and destroyed at differing resolutions throughout this box as a simulation runs. And a snapshot that you get is a patchwork of these grid meshes covering each other, right? So getting data from this is non-trivial. All of these are located in different files and all of that, right? And so maybe you have something that's a pain to deal with, or maybe it's not such a pain, right? But you know you have a way to read it in, or it is fairly non-idiosyncratic, right? But you feel like maybe there's more that you could do with it than just what you've been doing, right? Or maybe you feel somewhat limited in the questions you can ask of the data. Maybe you're locked in the tracks that you've always had. You have the various analysis procedures that you have and really nothing more. And you don't have a great way to break out of the things that you've always been doing, right? So I think, to me, what YT has done for me in my career and has made it special is that it takes this data that is just a bunch of files with some sort of generic domain on it. And the moment we load it in, we get information about the physical system and not just about a bunch of files, right? So the moment we type import YT and we load in some file name, we automatically start to know stuff about the physical system that we're trying to understand. Maybe all of a sudden, these domain bounds go from 0 to 1 to something with actual units like kilometers, parsecs, anything like that, right? And we also want to stop thinking about files and data on disk, and we just want to think about the physical system itself, right? So I want to be able to say, this is a region of interest in the size of the physical system. And I just want to say, I want to make a sphere with some center there in some size, in some unit system. And I do realize that domain bounds of kilometers are somewhat inconsistent with the sphere size of megaparsecs, but I forgot to change those units on these, right? So we want to be able to think about that and really not have to worry about all this underlying complication, right? And then we want to be able to get the data back from the parts that we want in simple ways that we can then go on and do things with. We don't want this all to be something specialized that then just locks us into some other track, right? We want to grab this data and we have it brought back to us in some usable generic form like a NumPy array that then we can go on and do, anything we want with, right? So really what we want to do is have something to solve the parts of this that we really don't care about. The idiosyncrasy of the files and the data on disk, we don't want to care about that. We just want to ask physical questions about the science that we're doing and really forget about all the other stuff. And to me, that is what YT has enabled me to do throughout my career, is to essentially get from this complicated mess to just a system where I can say, make a sphere, put it there, and give me back all of the elements contained within that sphere, or a region, or a combination of spheres and disks and so on. And to me, that has created essentially a launching point for doing just about anything, right? So we want to be able to do simple things like multiply density and temperature together to get pressure, just like that, right? But we also want to not lose track of the fact that this is spatial, right? We want to get the positions of things. We want to be able to pipe all the information from this into our own analysis or into maybe some canned analysis that YT already has for us, right? We want to be able to do complex things, right? If we've built a bunch of really amazing analysis, generally what that needs is basically some arrays of data to throw into it and to do some machine learning analysis or some complicated thing, right? And that is what YT can do for not just my data, but any form of data with corner cases or idiosyncrasies, be they particles or adaptive mesh grids of different kinds, or unevenly spaced grids, or layers of images that overlap in non-trivial ways, things like that, right? So what I hope is that we're all here because we all have the same type of problem that we don't want to deal with, but that we do want to ask interesting questions of the system and potentially see what people in other groups are asking of their data, right? So in the room here, we have a lot of astronomers, but we have geophysicists and we have people in medical science and nuclear engineering, and who represents something that I haven't named? Anyone? I think I've gotten them all this time, but the people who use this code, I think, extend vastly far beyond that, right? So welcome. Let's first learn how to use this sort of from the ground up. So we've kind of taken a step back for the tutorials over the next couple of days to think how we really want to present this code to people who've never seen it before. I realize many of you in here have been using it for a while, but maybe you focused on parts that got you exactly where you wanted to go, like making plots, right? We are going to do a lot of plot making, but what I think you'll find in here is that we have taken a different approach to starting from the fundamentals of getting at the data first before we make the images, to try to understand, to give you an understanding of what's happening a bit under the hood. And I think to give you a sense of what is possible when you really know how to use what's in here. So let's learn stuff, but also let's collaborate, right? We have another day and a half of working together. So if you have problems, if you have things that don't work, if you've brought data that doesn't quite yet work in YT, that's what we really want to accomplish as well, is getting all this stuff in. We want to round off edges. We don't do these workshops very often, but every few years we do. And we get together when we make real progress at moving things forward on like that. And so in the room today, we have, I know a number of people who have been using this code for a while, but we have four, not including myself, four very experienced developers of the code. We have Matt, we have Clément, we have Corentin, and we have Chris there in the back. And three of them will be giving the tutorials with me, and we will be on hand, to help answer questions and help you solve problems for things that YT can't do, right? We intend to show you the way that we feel like we want you to learn how to use it, but we also intend to show the places where it doesn't work so well. And we would like to know what parts of this don't work so well so we can improve it, right? So in the schedule, I think you'll find that at the end of both today and tomorrow, we have Slack time. And at the end of the morning on day 3 before we transition to development. We have this slack time. Feel free to use that as time to follow up on things that weren't clear, to get some help on things, or just to start to work together on stuff. We've left this kind of loose so that we just have time to play and explore with the things that we have, the concepts that we have introduced. I've tried to keep the schedule not so tight that we just bounce from thing to thing, but that we just have time to kind of learn and reflect on all of it, right? And one thing that I would love to see happen, we have a YT gallery with a bunch of examples of usage. I would love to see more of this added to in this week, right? So we have it here, ytproject.org/gallery. You can see many other things up there, but if you create something really neat, it's easy to get it added, advertised on our main webpage. I'd love to see that happen. So if you have any questions about how to do that, or if you just have things already, let us know and let's try to get that up there, right? And also, we will transition into, working together, right? And eventually, after you've made a couple contributions and things like that, we have this thing called project membership, where we sort of elevate people to having their name on our big board of names, right? So I'd like to invite everyone to think about doing that, right? So Matt, when do you think these pictures were taken from?
Didn't tell you. So,
Okay,
upper left, I'm sorry, upper right was in 2012.
okay,
It was taken by Molly Peoples.
all right,
Lower right was 2013 in Santa Cruz. Lower left was in New York at Columbia, probably early 2014. And then upper left was at Illinois, I think, in 2016. So those are all really old.
the old.
Yeah, but at the same time, that's because I looked more handsome then, and so I stopped taking pictures afterwards.
Is that you?
No, that's Anthony Skopats.
Okay, that's me.
That's you.
And I think that might also be me there. And
On the left is you, yeah. I think that's Mark Richardson in the
Okay.
right in the
Right.
middle. And then you got Jeff Owishi and Casper, and Anna Rosen, Christine Simpson, I think I said. Anyway,
well, let's take more pictures.
these are all
from
my,
here.
my
Get something
these-
else up
this
on
is
the
real.
So I sent these logistics yesterday, but all of the notebooks that we will use to present, they're available on this GitHub repo, and we'll continue to push changes as we edit things. So you can grab things. I think we'll let you know if anything significant comes that way. We have sample data. I hope that many of you have gotten that already, since it's, as I said, 35 gigabytes or so. And we have the Slack channel, and that's it. So thank you all for coming. I hope we have a fun week. I hope you learn lots, and I really hope that you become part of this community and do something cool with it. Thank you. Right. Yes.